audio test for both the Mayano and the Fifine microphone to make sure we don't have any static or clipping. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Chris, and I'm your dad next door. Today we'll be bringing you another budget USB microphone review. The microphone going up for test today will be the Fifine Condenser microphone. It's really all the information we have about it. There's no specific part number, there's no model number, anything like that, just Fifine Condenser. Just a little precursor information about this microphone. It does not have a detachable USB cable, which to me is an immediate con, but we'll kind of work through that and see how that fits. It has a volume knob immediately on the front that controls the gain of the microphone. So you can adjust the gain on the fly while you're recording or podcasting or whatever you need. And it comes with a microphone stand mount with a 3/8 to 5/8 inch adapter. This is about all you're going to get in the packaging. I didn't receive any documentation for the microphone as far as specifications for frequency response, SPL, any of that information. If I can find anything online from the manufacturer, I'll post it up over here in a little image just so you guys can have some additional information about that. So let's get this guy on a stand, get it hooked up, and see exactly what it sounds like. Hey guys, by the way, I hope everybody enjoys this video here today. If you do, please remember to hit that thumbs up button. If you're looking for more microphone content or audio related tutorials, please feel free to hit the subscribe, smash that bell, do the whole fun shebang so that way you guys will get notified when new videos are released. Additionally, I do stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. During those streams, we talk about audio-related content, overlay design, other tech tips, as well as having fun and playing some games. If you guys are interested in that, please feel free to check me out there as well. Links to all of my social profiles are down in the description of the video. Now let's get back to this microphone review. So now we have both the Fifine and our Mayano A04, which will be our comparison microphone, hooked up at the same time here. You can see reference meters to their levels down at the bottom of the window here to understand exactly what we're listening to and what kind of volume we're outputting from each. I have the knob on the Fifine turned up only about a quarter of the way to get to this level. So that knob is definitely very sensitive, and if you wanted to have more control over the gain from the microphone itself, you would probably reduce your Windows volume down to about 50% and then have more control over the gain from the knob itself. One comment, and you can see the difference in the way these are mounted, due to the design of the Fifine and the way the microphone has that volume knob right in the center of it, there really isn't a good way to get the microphone set up in a shock mount that's standard for these condenser microphones. I was trying to find a way to get it in this, and it really wouldn't sit well. You could kind of slip it in the top, but it wasn't very good design. That is one negative, I would say, to the design, but it is also nice to be able to control the gain from the microphone. Not many USB have that. If you notice during the assembly process putting it on the stand, as I mentioned, the USB cable being permanently attached makes it very difficult when you're trying to adjust any stands or you're trying to put a different style of clip on it or anything like that. You have to feed it all the way off the cable, feed it back on, and it gets kind of cumbersome. Not really much you can do about that. It's just kind of a little thing you got to work around as you're working with the microphone. Since the intention here is to score the Fifine and give it a good, fair review, we're going to focus on the polar pattern for the Fifine at this time and understand that we assume, and based on the documentation or the write-up of the sales article, it is a cardioid polar pattern. For those that are new to microphones, cardioid means that it basically makes a heart-shaped symbol going around the microphone with the focal point being at the front and the most rejection in the rear. So you should have the most audible sound or the best audible sound directly in the front of this microphone. And as I pick it up and I rotate this microphone 90 degrees, you should see that that starts to reject off. We're going to rotate all the way down to 180 degrees. And I'm the same distance from the microphone, but you should notice a big difference in audio quality. Rotating to the other, which would be 270 degrees, and back to 360. That should be very, very clear on the differences in the audio sound there as you're rotating the microphone around. I will say that this capsule has a very, very thin mesh layer on the inside of it, And while it won't be great at rejecting plosives, it might capture some sound inside of the capsule as you're rotating the microphone around to maybe not make the rejection from the rear as strong, because some of that sound will reverb off of that mesh and metal on the inside. One comment to make for both of these microphones is that the Fifine inside of Windows Properties is stuck at a 16-bit 48 kilohertz sound, whereas the Meano was able to go up to 2-channel 24-bit 192 kilohertz bit rate, I should say. So the Meano definitely has a level up, but whether or not that improves the sound quality is an entirely different story and what you guys will determine here today. The next test I'm going to do here is a plosive rejection test, and we're just going to determine how well built-in pop filters can do on these microphones. Now, the Fifine, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, has a very, very, very thin mesh. You can clearly see the capsule from inside the microphone, so I don't know how much this is going to block plosives. The Meano, I have no idea what the capsule looks like. I think it has a little bit thicker mesh, but I have not taken the capsule head off to determine exactly how well it is. So let's see what the differences are. Starting with the Fifine, Peter picked lots of peppers from Paul's patch. Over to the Meano, Peter picked lots of peppers from Paul's patch. And then I'm going to be using just a $5 fly swatter style pop filter here right in front of the microphones. Peter picked lots of peppers from Paul's patch. Peter picked lots of peppers from Paul's patch. And that should just be a really, really simple plosive test to show you what the internal pop filter does and what an external can do when used appropriately. Our next test here is going to be the noise floor test, or an attempt to determine how much sound these microphones make on their own. Again, this is not a treated room, but this would be an opportunity for you to determine exactly how much ambient sound or hiss these microphones can make on their own, or pick up from a room that isn't really super sound treated. And there you have the differences between those two microphones at boosted levels to determine exactly what they sound like once they have been once you're in a quiet environment. And now we are going to do our proximity test. And as you can see right now, I'm standing about 3 inches off of the microphones, which is your normal talking distance. I'm going to get right up on these and show you what they sound like when you get right next to them and kind of talk just like you're being really, really, really close. And trying not to be clipping is impossible on this microphone. It's just not going to happen. You're going to be very, very, very aggressive with this. You're definitely going to need some kind of compressor or gate if you decide to talk like this, or treat this like an ASMR microphone. And now we're going over to the Meano, and we pretty much see the exact same problem. The plosives seem to be more aggressive with this microphone, actually, like they're getting caught inside the capsule. It's definitely over clipping by a long shot there, so that's not very good, or not very good sign for itself. And now we'll continue that kind of distance test by just stepping back and continuing to talk. And now you can see I am about 2.5 feet away from the microphones here, just stepping back and continuing to talk at the same level, raising my voice just a little bit to show you what it sounds like when you step away. Now we're going to go about 5 feet back, and we're kind of just talking at a loud level now. I'm almost to the point of yelling to kind of explain exactly what this sounds like, and then we're going to go another probably about 6.5, 7 feet away maybe, and I am definitely at the point of where I'm yelling now. I'm having to talk really loud. You're probably getting a ton of reverb from this room as you are picking up all the sound bouncing off to go into the microphones versus coming straight from me. And now we're back to our normal levels, and we are talking straight into these microphones again, just to give you a good sense of what they should sound like when you are within that 3-inch radius or 3-inch range of the capsules themselves. Now we are doing what I call my off-axis ambient noise rejection test. And this one here, I have my phone sitting up on that shelf right there next to that little plastic canister. The speaker for my phone is pointed towards the wall, so it's reverberating back off the wall towards me. And my phone is only at 50% volume this time. I noticed when I did it at 100% volume, it just flooded the microphones too much, and it didn't seem like it was a fair assumption because it was almost like somebody standing there next to me yelling. At this point, this would be like somebody almost having a light conversation next to me. And I do use this same track for all of my videos, so it should be the same when comparing different microphones. So I'm going to be quiet here for about 10 to 15 seconds, give you an opportunity to listen, hear the difference between the two microphones and what they sound like. Looking at the meters themselves, it looks like the Meano has a little bit of an edge there, but they're both pretty close, and I think you're not really going to notice much of a difference when you're listening from a pair of headphones or something like that. So it is now time to come to a close for our review today, and after listening to the tracks and kind of going through the editing process before I do this final portion of the video, I have to say that both of these microphones really did fail the plosive test. The internal pop filters on these are really bad. I think the Fifine having a much more open capsule or casing allows the air to go through it a little better, and it didn't overexpose the pops. The Meano did a really, really poor job, unfortunately, and it was just completely overblown and completely clipped out when you had that plosive test. But positives for the Meano, in my opinion, are the overall vocal range. I think the Fifine was much too high, and it kind of gave it an extra little bit of a tin sound. It doesn't bring out the deeper notes of my voice, which the Meano is very capable of doing in this USB format. To give my overall and my fair comparison on whether or not I would suggest the Fifine microphone, yes, I would. At a $50 price range, I think it is much better than a lot of other things on the market, but if you can find a way to pull up an extra $10 and go for the Meano, I definitely think the Meano is a better buy, especially including the fact that it comes with a boom arm, a shock mount, pop filter, and everything to get you ready for a good set, for a good production set. Whereas the Fifine only comes with the microphone and the clip. Other than that, I think this was a decent review. I think everything came out well in this recording. If you guys have any additional questions, any tests I didn't cover during this review, or anything you would like to know about the microphones themselves, please feel free to provide them in the comments of the video. That way I can address them accordingly. Other than that, please check us out next time. Future microphone reviews coming in the near... Other than that, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please remember to hit that thumbs up button. If you guys are interested in more microphone reviews, please hit subscribe, as they will be continuously coming to this channel as we go through and get these done. So I'm going to sign off for the day. I appreciate everybody who watched, and if you made it this far, thank you so much. My name is Chris. I'm your dad next door, and we will check you next time. It happens, but I'm just saying, like, if they sit and watch you for 2 hours, then usually they're gonna follow, they're gonna enjoy the content, right? They're gonna click off. If they're there for 15-20 minutes, they're either gonna go to somebody else or they're gonna enjoy the content and stay, and then they'll drop you a follow usually or something like that, right? Like they'll know whether or not they like the content at that point. And so I think that the mid-roll kind of helps with that. Right, you kill the pre-roll, somebody will stay for that 10 seconds or however long an average, 30 seconds. I don't know how long the pre-roll ads are usually. Well, 90% of the people I watch, I'm subscribed to. So I don't know how long the pre-rolls are typically, but I was just thinking, like, I think that's the way to go. I think that's the way to go now. It's just remembering, you know, like reminding yourself to do that. Right, like hit that advertisement, that 90 seconds every time you go to the bathroom, or you know, whatever, every time you get up from your desk, kind of just say, okay, I'm gonna run a 90 just to get it out there and just let it run, you know.